So I wasn't gonna record a full video today. I was just gonna take it easy. I cooked up a lot of bacon, making some food and that, playing the original Batman. But Misfits had their card today, which I didn't watch live, but I did go back and I watched most of these fights. This was an amazing card. And Misfits absolutely has everything they need to compete with the UFC. Darren Till is another thing. I'll talk about him tomorrow. He is tearing it up over there at Misfits. But we gotta talk about Tony Ferguson, man. This was this was one of the biggest moments in mixed martial arts that really hit me. And for any of you who don't know who Tony Ferguson is, you're new to the UFC, this guy was unbelievable in his prime. We're supposed to fight Khabib multiple times, right? He ran through everybody up until fighting Justin Gaethje, where Gaethje knocked him out in the fifth round. Then after that, he went on one of the worst losing streaks of all time. Guys, I want to play this clip right here, just so you can see his emotion after winning. That's a dude who reached the pinnacle of combat sports, and arguably the best era to do it, the Conor era, without the whole controversy with Conor holding the belt for a year. Maybe he would have fought for the belt multiple times. He should have. When we know the story, we know that he always got injured. He always got injured, or Khabib had visa issues. But this is his first win in 6 years. There are some pictures of it. Boy, Salt Papi at the beginning of the fight was really getting to him, and was tagging him with big shots. But he got into that fight, and he looked like prime Tony. He really did. Let's see. Screw it. I'll try going with or showing a clip of it. Why not? I don't really care. Um, but I guess there is no clip. But like when he got him into that corner, and he was just teeing off, it was brutal. Now, the other part that we need to bring up is the referee did stop it way too early. And he really robbed us of you know, a true Tony Ferguson finish. But shit, dude. Like, it's just this dude's entire career completely flipped in the matter of 30 minutes. And, you know, had he would have lost to Gaethje and just rebound right after, went on at least, say he would have like won, kind of like Michael Chandler, won like three of his last five or whatever, but made him competitive. You know, this would be a different story. But like, This guy was unbelievable. He came in on the I think it was the Lesnar Carlin series of the Ultimate Fighter, but on the regionals, guy was a freak. Submission to go, two more submissions. Um, lost the decision. Went on to winning streak, two TKOs. Got submitted by Jamie Tony, and then went on a three-fight winning streak before making it on the season 13 of Ultimate Fighter. TKO Justin Edwards, TKO Ryan McGilvery, and these Ultimate Fighter fights were vicious, dude. Like, he was absolutely demolishing everybody on this season. Knocks out Chuck O'Neal, and then in the Ultimate Fighter finale, fights Ramsey Nizer, knocks him out in the first round, and then from there, um, TKO's Aaron O'Reilly beats Eva Edwards, a really good veteran. Again, a lot of the fighters that Jorge Masvidal, that were at the top over recent years. I give you Edwards a lot of credit for being a beast, which he was. Uh, Michael Johnson, he lost to by unanimous decision, but Michael Johnson has a lot of incredible wins. And then after that Michael Johnson lost, he became the boogeyman. First on Darkstroke, first on KO, split decision against Danny Castillo. Second rounder naked choke, first rounder naked choke against Bryson Tagwell. Beats Josh Thompson by unanimous decision. Submits Edson Barbosa with a Darkstroke in the second round. Gets another second round Darkstroke over Orlando Venata. Then he fights former champion Rafael dos Anjos and batters him for 25 minutes and gets the unanimous decision. Kevin Lee goes in there, batters him, submits him in the third round. But the problem with Tony Ferguson is that there's no position that you can put him in where he wasn't a threat. And like that's why the Khabib fight was so interesting, was because we know Khabib, the dog, is staying grappling, kick him down, wrap up the legs, and maul him for as long as he can. Tony Ferguson has a bunch of good elbows off the back, a lot of good submissions off the back, and he hits you at weird angles with a ton of power that doesn't make sense. Um, well, yeah. Then he ends up after the Kevin Lee win, ends up fighting Anthony Pettis. Wins by a corner stoppage due to Anthony Pettis breaking his hand. That one, it was a good fight. Major letdown for how the fight ended. But then he goes against Cowboy Cerrone and batters Cowboy. Uh, I think that's the fight where Cowboy Cerrone he made yeah, he blew his nose after Tony Ferguson broke it and it swelled up his eye. Um, it was a shame. It was a really good fight, but then the Gaethje fight, you know, and at the start I was like, okay, Gaethje phenomenal performance. Then Oliveira beats him by unanimous decision. All right, Oliveira went on to win the title, and is still a top contender. Just fought for the vacant title, and then he loses to Benil Darius by unanimous decision. And it's like, all right, Come on, can he rebound here? And then they put him in against Michael Chandler. And at this stage, a lot of people were still like, alright, you know, Tony Ferguson isn't what he was. But he has a chance here. And then Michael Chandler gets one of the most vicious front kick knockouts we've ever seen. You've all seen Tony's face. Um, the screenshot of it, horrific. Ends up fighting Nate Diaz, the legend of the sport. Um, After Nate Diaz was supposed to fight, what you might call it, Hamza Chimaev. And they were gonna put him in there with Li Jingliang. Li Jingliang is really good. Really good. When it gets submitted by Nate Diaz in a good fight, goes in against Bobby Green, looks good for a little bit, then gets submitted by an arm triangle. Fights Patty Pimblett, Patty Pimblett wins by decision. And then in his last fight in the UFC, gets submitted in the first fight against Michael Chiesa. Which Michael Chiesa is a really good fighter, but nowhere near the level that Tony Ferguson was in his prime. And, you had him at the DUI where he flipped his truck. You had the other police situations, the domestic abuse thing, which I never really looked into, so I'm not gonna really bring that up. But the one thing you can say about Tony Ferguson is that he adopted this lifestyle in a way that very few fighters do. And that's one of the things that made him such a fan favorite, right? That's one of the things that, had us all praying that this win streak, or that the losing streak, would snap. And we could just see it at least one more time where Tony gets his hand raised. Where Tony goes in there and is Tony Ferguson. But Salt Papi, he's one of the better guys in the YouTube boxing scene. So you have to factor that in. And it's just, regardless of what promotion, regardless who the opponent is, regardless of what the sport is, for a guy to go from the pinnacle of the sport to losing everything and then finally getting that one win, that one telling sign that today you actually were meant to do. Your work paid off. It's, I really wish that he would have retired earlier. I truly do. I really do. I think everybody agrees with me on that. But like, damn man, it's it's crazy how life can change that quick, man. But if he's going to fight, I want to see him do fun fights. Maybe he fights Dylan Dennis. I don't think Dylan Dennis can knock him out. And I mean it. Dylan Dennis had a really good performance in his fight, which I might talk about um, this week. But amazing man. I thought that he was gonna get knocked out. I really do. That's why I didn't really pay much attention to this card. I really thought that he was gonna get knocked out. Other than that, man, I did like the idea of the Rock hold Darren Till fight, especially after what Darren Till did. 100%, yeah. I won't spoil it. Darren Till, he is going to become the Mike Perry of Misfits. He is going to make a shit ton of money, and that is going to build him into one of the biggest names in the fight game. But that will probably be my video tomorrow. But let me know. Did you watch this Misfits event live? And what were you thinking, man, during this fight? And man, what's next for Tony Ferguson? 41 or 2-year-old Tony Ferguson, now off of a win in 2025. 2025, it really is the year of unks, man. I'm taking that from MMA Guru, but like, you look at a lot of the guys winning now. Tim Elliott beating Kyle Sakura. You got most of the champions now are pretty old. It's interesting though, but let me know what you think down below. Thanks for watching.